What did your boss do that made you lose it? I was taking out trash at work when I found something that made my blood run cold. A time card with pen marks crossing out 30 hours of work. It belonged to Cody, this 19-year-old kid with autism who stocks our shelves. When I showed him what I found, his whole face just crumpled. Did I fill it out wrong? He kept asking me. My chest got tight watching him flip through his notebook where he tracks every single hour, trying to figure out what he did wrong. He had no idea someone was stealing from him. I started showing up early because something felt really wrong about this whole thing. That's when I saw what Keith was doing. Every night at 7, Cody would clock out and Keith would already be standing there with a price gun. You need practice time, Keith would tell him. Your disability makes you slower than everyone else. Practice or you'll be fired. Cody would just nod and keep working until 11. 8 months this had been happening. My stomach turned when I did the math. Over 1,000 hours stolen. When I asked Glenn about it, he went pale and pulled me outside. He told me Keith had done this to 3 other disabled workers before Cody. They tried to fight it and ended up gone. Glenn tried reporting it once and got written up. Then he dropped the bomb. Keith's brother was our district manager. I started noticing everything after that. Keith posting pictures of his new motorcycle while Cody brought crackers for dinner every night. Cody telling me he gave up on getting an apartment because he couldn't figure out why he never had money. The kid didn't even know he should be paid for those hours. Then I watched Keith make it worse. He had Cody cleaning bathrooms until midnight. I actually heard Keith on the phone with his brother laughing about getting free cleaning from the special needs kid, but Friday was when I lost it. Keith screamed at Cody in front of a line of customers, said he was too slow to deserve real pay. Cody just stood there apologizing. I followed Keith to his office and my hands were shaking when I asked why Cody wasn't getting paid. Keith actually laughed in my face. What's that slow kid gonna do about it? Sue me? I hit record on my phone in my pocket. I thought corporate would help, so I called their hotline that weekend. Monday morning, Keith called me into his office with this huge grin on his face. He played my call to corporate on speaker. His brother had sent him the recording. You're fired for creating a hostile work environment, Keith said. Security walked me out past Cody, who looked so confused about why I was leaving. Keith stood at the door watching me go. He had no idea I'd been recording him and taking photos for weeks. I drove straight to the state labor board, and the investigator almost dropped the doctored time cards when she saw them. She called in her supervisor immediately. They said this was criminal exploitation, and they needed everything I had. I spent the next week tracking down Maria and Justin. Maria's dad had kept 900 hours of documentation. Justin had recordings, but the investigators said they needed more. They needed Cody to testify. My heart sank because I knew Cody trusted Keith. 10 days later, 3 state vehicles pulled up during Friday dinner rush. I watched from my car as investigators walked in, but Keith was ready. He'd been tipped off. He was standing there with a lawyer, denying everything. The investigators looked frustrated. Then they called Cody into the office. I could see through the window as Cody sat down, confused. Keith kept smiling at him, nodding like everything was fine. For 20 minutes, Cody said nothing. Keith's lawyer was arguing they should leave. Then the investigator asked Cody one question. Do you work here after you clock out? Cody looked at Keith, then at the investigators, and his voice was so quiet. Keith says I need practice because I'm slow. Every night, 3 hours, 4 hours. He says I'll be fired if I don't. The room exploded. Keith jumped up screaming that Cody was confused, but Cody kept talking. He pulled out his notebook and started reading every single date, every hour of unpaid work, 8 months worth. Keith's face went white. His brother rushed in, but the investigators were already pulling out handcuffs. They had emails between the brothers. Keith's text saying, these idiots work for free thinking it's training LOL, and now Cody's testimony. They arrested Keith while the whole store watched. Then they cuffed his brother. Cody got his $32,000 back and texted me a picture from his new apartment, the one he'd been dreaming about. The other workers got their money too. The store ended up paying millions in fines, and Cody works at a library now. Keith's wife left him. Keith got 2 years in prison.